Hello and welcome back to the Third Rail. We have a new addition to the collection this week. I just received this class 1020 of the ÖBB, the Austrian Federal Railway Company, and I thought we should have a first look at it together. Let's start with a quick model overview. This is a Märklin product, of course, sold under model number 3159. This model was released in 1981 as part of the standard Märklin program. You'll find it on page 32 of the catalogue that year. It remained in production unchanged until 1986. On to a few vital statistics. The model measures 21 centimeters buffer to buffer. It is a complete metal construction, that's body and the articulated chassis. It is fitted with an electromechanical reverser that controls a large 3-pole motor, that's the large flat collector motor type, driving 3 axles equipped with 4 traction tires. The model is fitted with electric headlights on both sides. They are non-directional, so always on. The model was also fitted with working pantographs and relax couplings at both ends. It's time for a quick overview of the prototype for context, as usual. The model represents a Class 1020, a heavy freight locomotive of the ÖBB, the Austrian Federal Railways. This type of locomotives was originally built for the Deutsche Reichsbahn, where it was classed as E94. It was developed for freight operations on the steeper parts of the Reichsbahn network. This included the Austrian Alpine routes, as the country had been annexed by the Third Reich at the time the locomotive was under development. As a result, Austria received the very first unit in 1940. In terms of performance, the E94 could reach speeds of up to 90 km per hour. It could pull a 2,000-ton freight train at 85 km per hour on the flat, 1,000-ton at 50 km per hour on a 1.6% gradient, and 600-ton at the same speed on a 2.5% gradient. The E94 was classed as a Kriegslokomotive, so its production was prioritized throughout the Second World War. By 1945, 146 units had been built and entered service. 44 units remained in Austria after World War II, which were integrated into the newly formed ÖBB in 1947. In 1954, the class was renumbered to 1020. At the same time, the ÖBB built 3 additional units out of available parts from unfinished locomotives. The majority of the ÖBB fleet remained in service until the mid-1990s. During that time, it took care of the majority of freight and banking services, and it could be found in every depot in Austria. The Class 1020 was modernized between 1967 and 1980, the most visible alterations made in the process being the lights, side vents at both ends, cab windows and pantographs. 2 larger windows were fitted instead of the original smaller 3. But many changes were also made to electrical, braking and safety systems. From 1970 onwards, modernized locomotives received a new orange livery known as the Jaffa livery. In the 1990s, some units were repainted again, this time in a red color scheme known as the Valusek livery, which was being rolled out at the time. The withdrawal of the class occurred progressively over many years, almost by accident by the looks of it. A few units were taken out of service following mechanical damage and were dismantled. Others were scrapped or sold on as newer types of locomotives entered service. It is only in the early 1990s that the process accelerated. The last 1020 was withdrawn in 1995. According to Wikipedia, a lot of the ÖBB units still exist, either in preservation or in active service with private operators. This completes the high-level overview. You'll find photo credits and links to sources in the video description down below. Now let's have a look at my 3159. I purchased this model from a professional eBay seller. The model was described as being in good condition and the pictures looked okay. No more details were provided. The model arrived in its original box in the usual 1980s colors. We have the correct stickers on the sides and the box is in a good condition. Let's have a look inside now. We have the original instructions. That's always good. The model is wrapped in some form of plastic. Let me take it out. I'll unwrap it. Hey, it's not bad at all. Let me get a presentation rail and we'll have a closer look. There we are. My first impression is that the model is in pristine condition. The seller I bought this from is not the most reliable as far as descriptions are concerned. So this is a very pleasant surprise. As for the model, it might be well made and look very nice, but sadly none of the modifications made during the modernization of the prototype made it to the model. So as it stands, it is identical to the Märklin 3022. It's the Deutsche Bundesbahn E194, the only difference being the livery. To be fair, there wasn't much competition when Märklin released the model. I think only Lilliput made a 3-rail version of the 1020, which wasn't better in terms of realism. Still, this is a missed opportunity to do the right thing for Märklin. Looking around the model, everything is in excellent condition, with no defect to speak of. The paint is, dare I say, immaculate. I cannot see any mark anywhere. The roof is also intact. Its silver paint has survived the years with no issues. All the lines and isolators, as well as the running boards, are present. The pantographs are also in very good shape. Looking at the chassis, it gives the impression that the locomotive has been well looked after. All good by the looks of it. Excellent even. Let's hope it runs as well as it looks. Let's move to the layout. There we are. Let me rail the model. I just need to get the front bogie in the right place. That's it, all done. I'll readjust the shot so you are closer. There we are. Let me give it a bit of power. And we have motion. Now let's reverse. Listen how whisper quiet this thing is. All you can hear at this speed is the muffled sound of the gears. This tooling is very, very nice. The lights are working too. Here's the front. And the back. Excellent. I don't think the locomotive needs anything more than a bit of oil maybe. Let's have a peek inside to be on the safe side. Let me set myself up. Right, ready. The motor and reverser are located under the middle section of the body. It is held to the chassis by a single screw located between the two bogies. I'll remove it and then the body simply lifts off. The stepped ladders attached to the body are made of wire, so they have a tendency to bend, in which case they may be in the way when lifting the body. All that is needed then is simply straightening them back up gently. Looking at the innards, we have a large flat collector motor, the usual mechanical reverser, and the lever to switch between track and overhead power is on the other side of the chassis. I'm going to take a shortcut here because everything looks clean. The locomotive behaved well when it was on the track. I don't think it needs a service, but I will check the state of the collector just in case. I'll remove the copper brush And I'll check through the hole whether the collector is clean. And if we look closer, we can see a nice shiny copper surface. I won't go any further. The inside of the motor plate might be caked in graphite and oil, but I'll take a chance here. I'll put the brush back for now. I fill the oil reservoirs on each side of the motor and put the body back on. Looking at the chassis, the traction tires all look okay. Maybe a bit slippery, but they are holding tight to the wheels. I think this might be some polish of some sort. It should go after a few rounds on the layout. All I'll do for now is a bit of lubrication, the usual drop of oil on the gears and the axle bearings, and then we'll be ready for a test round on the ground level loop. And we are off. The loco is a bit of a racer by the looks of it. No problem in the station area. It doesn't get stuck on any of the turnouts. Okay, and it's back. Well, it's time for a run-in. While it's doing this, let's have a look at rolling stock. As usual, we are looking at the Märklin production from the 1980s. Austria wasn't a key market for Märklin, so the standard program was very light in terms of ÖBB rolling stock. As far as freight is concerned, there was only one wagon, the bicycle transport wagon number 4412. The vast majority of ÖBB models were so-called export models with limited production runs, usually available in Austria first, then worldwide and listed in the export models brochure. A trickle of wagons were released during the decade, which added up to quite a few items in the end. We have the 4401 Ban Express, for example, 4407, 4434, the car transporter. We have the tank wagons, ÖFA, ÖMV, the Schwechat or Schwechat, I don't know how to pronounce it, and then a few container and more modern high-sided or steel transport wagons. But due to the position of Austria on European trade routes, anything freight from Switzerland, Germany or Italy would also have been possible. So I went and had a look in my drawers and I decided to get a few tank wagons out. We have a couple of 4655 heating oil tank wagons from the unpronounceable Schwechat, a couple of 4448 ÖFA wagons in two versions. One of the versions is duller than the other. You can see the last two wagons here are a different version. Then we have a couple of 4444 Elan wagons and two 4450 MV wagons. Not prototypical as far as the consist is concerned, but I like these wagons. And doesn't this consist look nice? I have used these cars before, and I'm not expecting any coupling issues, so I'm going to send the train on the main line straight away this week. The locomotive is a racer, so I'll turn the throttle down to 90 on the transformers. I'm going to let the train do all the talking now and leave you with it as it goes around the layout for a few rounds. Well, it might not be prototypical, but this loco is a very good puller. Pure old school Märklin quality. And I must say I'm very pleased with my purchase. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching and for all the likes, shares and subscriptions you have been giving me. This is all very rewarding, as well as a good way to help the channel in reaching a wide audience. Many thanks again for this. Bye for now.